Okay, so I'm back with MTX Automotive, and I am progressing on the 73 Scout. So on this video, I'm going to attempt to describe to you how I'm making this center cab cross member. So it's I think I said in the last video, it's a fairly complex cross member. So it basically, so I'm going to use my flat head screwdriver for a pointer. This thing's from the bottom, this thing extends all the way up to the top, which just underneath the floorboard of the bed. So all of this is one piece, and it extends the entire width that you see here, and it actually even it extends. It goes through behind the door jamb. It goes through there, and of course your door jamb is right here. And it terminates back here. And I do apologize for the lighting here. But so it's even got 2 or 3 bolts in it here. But that's how far that this thing goes. So with that in mind, when I start fabricating something like this, there's a couple of kind of fundamental rules of thumb that I stick to. So first of all, I know because of this hump here that it's going to be at least a 2-step process, and maybe 3 to make this thing. Because I obviously don't have a stamp, I'm not able to stamp it out. I'm having to make it, all my bends by hand. So the first thing that I want when I'm doing this is the overall length from over on the passenger side where it goes through behind the door jamb. I want that length all the way to where I showed you right here on the driver's side. And the way that I get that, or get close to it, okay, this is underneath the bottom of the bed, looking toward the front of the vehicle. So I have, of course, you have this metal brace here, and there's a gap right here, and then there's one over there. So you see this, there's a flat piece of metal on the other side over there. So I brought my tape measure in here, and I run it through these openings, and I butted one end of the tape measure up to this flat piece over here, and then I come to this side and I butt the tape measure up there. So I measure that, and that's this thing. It continues going back behind there, but I measured the center piece here and got that measurement. Then I came to the outside. I butt my tape measure up here and come out to my longest point, which this is an angle right here. And so the top is the widest point, so that's what I went to. And so I know I have a scenario just like this on the passenger side. So I just get my measurement here, and I know I've got one over on the passenger side, so I double it and then add that to this overall measurement that I took from the center, which ended up being, and I added a little bit to that, maybe 1/4 of an inch, because it doesn't, you have to always remember it's easier to cut metal off than it is to try to stretch it. It doesn't stretch, obviously. So what I came up with was 69.5 inches for an overall length. Once I've got that nailed down, then I start adding up how many bends I've got and what the length of those bends are. Okay, so the way that I do that, going back underneath the Scout again. So I know that this thing spot welds to the bottom of the bed, and you can see a faint line of the first flange. It goes all the way across there. I know that that is 1 inch from where it welds the edge right there to where it bends 90 degrees. So I've got 1 inch. I know from here down to here is 1.5 inches. From there into there is another 1.5 inches. And then this flat area along here, I go to the longest, tallest area of that. And I know it's in this area here. So I just add all them measurements up. So I've got 1 inch and 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, and I think I got roughly 4 inches roughly there. So I just took my longest measurement. So then that will give me my, after I've added up those measurements, that will give me my overall, what I would call the height of the metal, because I've got the width, and this is going to be the height of the metal this way. So, and I have this thing bent. So here is my 1 inch side, first bend I made. This is my 1.5 inches, my second 1.5 inch, or my first 1.5 inch bend. My second 1.5 inch bend is here, and then this was the 4 to 5 inch, which is going to end up being this flat piece area right here. And that's going to be the first section of this, of building this or fabbing this cross member out. The reason for that is this hump right here. I'm going to have to start for the whole new piece going from here down because of that hump. And I'll go over that when we get to it. But I just want to show you how from, now that I've got this piece fabbed out to this point, well, I know that I've got an arch here that I've got to deal with, and then from this point down to here, you can tell it slopes. It's got an angle to it. So it's narrow here, go down here, it gets wider. So so what I've got to do is transfer this onto here. And the first thing that you got to do once you do that, is you've got to find the center point of this cross member. And so to get that, put a tape measure here, over the other side, get my full measurement, divide it by 2, gets me my center line, which is right here. I've got that marked. Then you need to have the center line for your piece that you've made. So you have to measure the full length of this thing all the way, divided by 2. Got my center line here. So I know on the top is straight. That's a straight edge. So I took some 2-inch masking tape and I stuck it along the straight edge, and I come down here and I stuck it along and followed that edge that slopes. So what I'm going to do is peel this off as one unit, or one template, and I will put my center line that I've got here onto my center line here, and and that will give me my line that I've got to cut to get that angle that I need. And then this first step will be done. And I'll peel that off, bring you back in a second. Okay, I'm back. Worked like a dream. So I peeled my tape template off of here, stuck it onto my new piece, and now I have a nice line to follow. So I'll just take my cutoff wheel, or whatever you're going to use to cut. You just want to follow. You can either make a line, you can either make a mark there with a Sharpie or a metal pen, grease pencil, or you can just follow the tape line. And just follow it out. So I've got my arch already right here. Follow it up and all the way across. So, and then that will have my arch for the center, and my angle will be done. Once that's done, throw the excess piece of metal in the scrap pile, and I'll be able to start on the second and possibly third part of this fabrication, which will be this bottom piece, and then the archway in the back of that. And I will show you what it's going to look like. It's going to be this piece right here, and then the top of that as well will have to be cut, bent, shaped, all that good stuff. So that's going to be another video for another day, but I just wanted to give everyone a idea of my methodology of how I kind of attack this stuff. You know, it's pretty basic if you just follow a few simple steps. The big three is to get your overall width, find your center line, and then add up how many bends you've got to get your height of your panel that you're building. And if you do that, and always allow yourself, you know, a quarter of an inch or something, as I said before, it's always easier to cut metal out. You can't stretch it. So anyway, it's going to be all for this one, and I'll bring you back on the next one.